You're listening to Reckless Creatives, a Pipeline Artists original podcast, where Sadie Dean and Jeanne Bowerman share the candid truth about the challenges and benefits of living life as artists. Hey, Sadie Dean.
Hey, Jeanne. How are you?
How are you doing? Good. How are you?
I am doing so good. Even better now because we spoke to someone very cool, very positive, very uplifting. And I really hope we get to meet her in person someday.
And who is she talking about? You know what? I forgot to ask Susan how she pronounces her last name. I'm assuming it's Gorrell.
Gorrell. That's what.
Gorrell?
That's Gorrell. Gorrell.
Gorrell. Susan, if you're listening to this, we apologize. Susan, it's Susan G. And
Susan G.
Susan G. And she is somebody you want to meet. Executive director of the Julien Dubuque International Film Festival. And she's been doing it, I think she said 12 years now. But a lot of indie filmmakers, especially if you're first time and you haven't applied to film festivals before, definitely want to listen to this. Some tips in there and a lot of stuff that people aren't really thinking about because you're just thinking, I want to make this movie. And then you're not always thinking, oh, but then what? What do I do?
Yeah.
Right?
And what's cool about this festival is that she's very arms wide open to the independent spirit and very much into creating and maintaining a community for these filmmakers, which is, I think, lost in a lot of film festivals. And I think as an independent filmmaker, you get so much out of just that environment, the opportunities to network with other writer, directors, actors, producers, whatever it may be. You find your people. And I think this is a place where you can find your people.
Yeah. And it's in Iowa. And I wanted to say when it's coming up in April 18th through the 25th. So, and we'll put links to all that stuff in the show notes, but this is not like an episode of, oh, we're just plugging a film festival. This is truly an episode that has things on it that topics I never thought we'd talk about.
A little disturbing, but we managed to get through it.
Some of them are disturbing, but we managed to bring it full circle because that's how we roll. We are reckless, and it's very fun though. And it's Susan's really fun, a lot of great energy, and you'll immediately understand how she could survive 12 years as an executive director of a film festival.
Yes, 100%. Oh, wow. A tornado alarm went off in the middle of the episode.
My gosh.
So
I hope she's
fine.
Okay.
Her and her dog and her family.
Did she grab the broom?
I hope so. And out of there.
So. All right, guys, you enjoy this one. Susan Gorrell. We are so excited to have you here today because let me just give you a little bit of info. Sadie Dean is a writer-director and has, submitted to 1,000,001 film festivals, right, Sadie? Or am I lying?
I hope I'm one of those one.
Yeah, I'm not lying.
No, that is correct. And soon to be 1,000,002. So yeah.
Excellent. And I'm a writer. I only made one short film and submitted it to 1,000,000 film festivals, and we didn't do very well. But I understand the pain of it. Yeah. And I like to go to film festivals. Like we have a little local one in our shop. So I'm excited to talk to you about all the film festival stuff, but also we also like to put people maybe a little bit on the therapy couch and
okay,
right?
I'm ready.
Did they not prepare you for this?
No, I'm thank goodness this is audio.
Okay, so go get a glass of wine.
Oh, you know what? I'm allergic to alcohol. I can't even drink to help me through this.
Oh,
I know I can't. I'm allergic to alcohol. So it's like, I'm kind of a Debbie Downer at parties. I'm always the designated driver.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I think when we first started Reckless, I think I might have been drinking tequila at first, but I did stop that habit.
That was something we had to break, and I'm glad we got through it. It only took 5 years, but we're on the other side.
On the other side of Jeannie's drinking problem. We've already said this in the intro. You're accolades of being executive director of the Julien Dubuque International Film Festival. Since Sadie and I are we are artists, but we're also day jobs in the industry, you know. I was doing a little stalking of you. And first of all, UK to Iowa, that's a whole other thing. But then you went to Florida, and Sadie, I'm sure, has a burning question about alligators.
Oh.
No, I don't. I don't. I was just in Florida.
About one, though. I have a good story about
Do you? Was it like knocking on your front door type thing?
It was when we first moved down there, we were like in we call them the glorified trailer homes. So they call them module parks.
Yeah.
And my husband came home from work and he says, "Hey, that's a really cool alligator, fake alligator you got in the front yard." And I'm like, "What alligator?" He goes, "That plastic alligator in the front." And I'm like, "I don't think that's a plastic alligator." And we went out and we looked, and it was a real alligator, and it hissed at him. We figured out when he went in close, and it hissed.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh my God, that's not real." And I'm like, "I told you it wasn't real." And so we had to call in an alligator wrangler, and our module home was across from the pond that was in the neighborhood, and he just came over to sunbathe in our front garden. So there's my gator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Sadie lived in Florida for like a hot minute, and the alligators were like literal hot, and the alligators were like the bane of her existence.
Yeah, they really were. They freaked me out. I'm glad to be back home in California without alligators.
More than snakes. I mean, like we had a snake in our house too, so we've had that. You know, it's my husband's always gone during all this stuff because he's worked.
Of course,
so he's always gone. So my daughter said, "Hey, Mom, there's a snake in the house." And I'm like, "Don't be stupid. No, there's a snake." And I went, and sure enough, he was crawled up in the tile. So I took a broom and I kind of brushed it outside, and then I beat the living crap out of it. And the broom and the snake parts are flying all over. I'm like, now he's dead.
We could probably have a whole conversation about wildlife that we have beaten to death with a broom, because I have beaten bats to death. I've beaten a mouse to death.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. It's country living.
It is.
I did not expect this conversation to go here.
No, sorry, we've derailed, but yeah, we had bats in Dubuque. I didn't know it was illegal to do that, so
yeah,
shouldn't. But it was. I didn't mean to. I mean,
I meant to.
You meant to.
Just went right at
purpose.
Get out of my house. Like, I think it's like the mom thing when you're like, your kids are standing on the bed screaming. They were little. There was this little mouse. We just moved into a house we built, so the mice were all over the house. And the mouse was just petrified still because the kids were screaming. And I ran down the hall and I got like all that I could find, because we just moved. It was like 2 mops. And I was going to open the window and just kind of scoop it out. Well, then I ended up having to beat the mouse to death because... I know. Don't think less of me.
Just Peter, listen to this podcast.
I'm sorry for all the animal lovers out there. I've repented. I've learned my lessons.
I did feel bad.
I felt a little bad.
Not for the snake.
I think it explains why my daughter is a snake.
Yeah.
So then you started off. You're born in the UK and came to Iowa. Then after Iowa, California, then Florida, then back to Iowa. When you met your husband in California and found out that he was interested in getting into film, was that like the first time you thought about, film? I know you had like your family had a music publication, PR for music?
A Christian recording and distribution company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So am I going too fast getting us to Florida? But the husband in the creative field, 2 spouses in the creative field. I'm really happy you could pay your bills.
That's what I got to do. I wanted. He paid all the bills.
Yes. So when you found out, you met this guy and you're like, oh, he wants to be a filmmaker. Like, did your vision of what being the spouse of a filmmaker match what it actually was about?
No, because you know what? I really didn't know when I first met him. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put in perspective. I was very young. I was 20, 21 with a brain about the size of a walnut. And I was more for partying and enjoying California. I went out there to school. I was going to be I wanted to go into PR, whatever that meant at that time at my age. And when I met him, he just came out of the Navy. So I don't know if I ever really we talked. I think he always said kind of like he liked to do filming, but he was at that time had high clearance. He was transferring passports in San Francisco for the Navy Yard and stuff. And he I don't think it really came. And then, I spent a lot of time, met him in a bar and partying. We have nothing romantic about how we met whatsoever. And then all of a sudden I'm moving back to Iowa because we're getting married and I'm pregnant. So, I mean, the whole beginning probably wasn't really a plan of anything. And when
Mm-hmm.
he got to Iowa, he knew how much he hated it because he was this boy from California, was in the Navy for years and lived in California for a while. And now
Yeah.
he's, coming to Iowa and he's got a farm. And that was like not at all what he wanted. And he had a friend that worked in Disney and worked in Florida and said, "Hey, come out here." And that's kind of when he started talking about wanting to do stuff in the industry. So
Mm-hmm.
he always knew, probably in high school, only when I knew more, that he really wanted to do this. And he's like, "Hey, my friend said we should move out there. I could maybe get in the film industry. We'll work at Disney, and so that was kind of our whole drive down to Florida. And he parked cars in the Disney parks, and I was a Disney character. So I did Chip, Dale, Roger Rabbit, and started doing Snow White before I got pregnant again. So that pregnancy ruined everything. So, and then and that was kind of how, and then he just lied and said, "Hey, I can do this and I can do that," because back then a lot of productions were at Universal and Disney. That's in Florida. So they were California and
Mm-hmm.
Florida.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
he just said, he kind of lied and said, "I'll do this." And then a director of a Superboy TV series, I think it was called, hired him, and that was it. And then his skyrocket, and I got to take care of the kids. So I kind of put my dreams in the back burner in a way. I was quite happy just, it's a lot of work being a
Yeah.
housewife and a mom, so I did
Yep.
that, raise the kids while he was gone all the time because he traveled so much.
And also, I love that he lied.
I know. He told him, "Oh, I can do this and that," this
Yeah.
director, and yeah, I can do it. And the guy, I'll never forget, the guy told him, Virgil Fabian, that was his name. I think he works in California now for Nickelodeon or Disney, maybe. But he said, I can give you a job. He said, but it's up to you to make something of it. And that's what
Mm.
Kenny did. He worked really hard. He started sweeping a warehouse and just worked his way up. And then when he won a Primetime Emmy for a TV miniseries, he called Virgil this years and years later and said, "Hey, just letting you know," goes, "Oh yeah, I heard you won." He said, "I just want to tell you thank you. Because of you, I worked hard and this is where I'm at." So
Yeah.
so lying
I,
gets you everywhere.
yeah. And it's a combination of lying and working really hard.
Well, yes, you got to have
Yeah.
both. That's right. But it
Yeah.
is. He worked very hard. And you have to, I think in the industry, you have to be your best commercial marketer. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to be able to
Yeah.
sell yourself and that's really important. So
Yeah. And just that whole work ethic and nothing. I think a lot of times people see people and they're like, "Oh, they're this," like they see them when they're already achieved, but they don't really understand the path that they took to get there. And sometimes the path was just so bizarre, like not even close to what they might think that would make logical sense. Like even in your situation, you obviously had some sort of a creative itch yourself because you made a documentary. Look at me,
always creative.
Sadie. I prepared a little bit for this one.
Impressed. I always liked creative. I always liked stories, and mine was more of finding those creative stories. I enjoyed that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, in working with people, when we did, my parents' company also did like a an awards show for Catholic artists. And we used to put on the whole show, and I'd have to do all the creative pieces behind, to help get it ready for the director of the show. And you're just very lucky that creatively, I come from a very musical, artsy family. Even though my dad was a dentist by trade, he still was artsy. And you learn all those good things of working hard and working with other people and putting things together. And I think all of that really helped for where I am now.
Your family's in like did the musical stuff and artistic stuff, as well as I'm sure your teeth are very clean.
Nobody else can see it, but you can.
Yes, we could see it. Very clean teeth. But when you were doing characters in Disney, were you singing? Were you
no. Unfortunately,
just in the costumes?
That singing gene did not go to me. I can dance, but no, I did the costumes. So you'd go out and you'd wear your costume like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. a day. And but I've always been really lucky that I'm a people person. So I always had fun doing that. And, even though it's like 185 in those costumes, by the way, but I would go out and I just run. I get that sweat and just get really sweaty. And then it didn't matter what you look like and, how you felt. All the sweats, it's bad. And then you just have fun with it. And the parade, I always did the parade. That was always fun.
The one doc what got you to know about this festival, right? So tell us a little bit about your origin with the festival. And I know you've been there a really long time now. Has it been 15 years yet? 14?
15 for the festival, but my 12th is I've actually been here from the beginning, but my 12th year being in charge as the ED.
Okay.
I had a documentary called A Million Spokes, and about rag brides, that bike ride across the state of Iowa. And the two co-founders, that was in 2012, I think, they had saw me speak at an event, because at that point I was starting to gather material of projects, buying scripts or stories that I really liked, that I thought might be good to find investors for, or do something with. And my husband had just won, that's when he won that Primetime Emmy for the John Adams miniseries. And so
John Adams.
Yes.
That was a great one. Yeah, I watched that when I had COVID.
It's a great, great miniseries. And the whole part, when he rides the horse through all the snow, the blizzard. Yeah. My husband created all that. That's what he won the Emmy for, was for that snow.
He deserved
Wait, what does your husband do specifically? Like special effects stuff?
Yep,
or
okay, not the digital,
like practical special effects.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Man, okay, we could go through a whole rabbit hole of just that industry too. And
but this podcast is not about him.
Keep going.
True. He's on a different one.
Yeah.
But so they spoke to me and said, "Hey, would you put your film in our festival?" And I said, "Oh, okay." And so I did. And then they called and said, "Hey, would you come up to the festival? It's our first year." And my younger son, Brandon, who's 38 now, who was probably 18 then, I said, "Oh, do you want to go to this little bitty film festival in Dubuque, Iowa?" And at that point, we had been to the Emmy, you go to a lot of stuff. And I bend him, I'm like, "Oh, we'll go to this little bitty festival." And he's like, "Okay." And when I went there, I thought, gosh, Dubuque is beautiful. I mean, it really is a beautiful city. It's right on the Mississippi. It's formed by the glaciers that came through from years ago. And, I had the ability that, because my husband's gone and travels all the time, it really didn't matter where, we were. In fact, at that time, I thought I'd be going back or going and working with him on sets. Wherever he was at, I was going to help him. And so I remember standing outside of a hotel, and I called my mom and I said, "Hey, Mom, Dubuque is very beautiful." And I said, "But I feel like I've been here before. It's just really familiar to me." And she, in her very strong Irish accent, always ever so loving, said, "You big dummy, you went to college there in '84. And I went, "Oh, that's why I got pulled out." That's why I didn't last. So I did apparently go to school there at Clark College, and for like maybe 1 year, and was pulled before I moved to California. So it had a spot with me. And then that was it. Then I just loved it. I said, "Hey, I'll help you guys. I can help bring people. I'll volunteer." So the second year I volunteered my time. The co-founders got in a bit of an argument. One left. The third year I worked full. I then was hired part-time. So I was volunteer and on the board. And then the third year I volunteered. And then the other co-founder left. And then they asked if I would do it. And here I am. Being an executive director of a film festival was not on my bingo card at all.
But that's usually how it goes, Sadie and I talk about this all the time, like how fortunate we feel we are, because we're both, writers, creatives. We were able to manage to miraculously somehow find a day job that lets us, even though it probably makes it so we don't have any time to write. it still allows us to be in that space, that creative space, and meet people like you and like talk about the stuff that we love. And that's what I love about what you're doing with the festival. Like you have that creative itch, but you're also super social, and you need to be social to organize events like this. And that's a lot of energy that it requires. Like, what's the thing that you think was most surprising to you about running a film festival?
Oh, how much money you have to raise.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, if you really want to, if you really want to make it right for people and give the filmmakers, independent filmmakers, an experience. So I think that was the first thing I said to the board. What kind of festival do you want to be? Do you want to be just a simple local film festival that welcomes maybe just Iowa filmmakers, which is great, but no real economic impact? Or do you want to invite, like your name says, international, and really invite international people from all over the world? And they wanted to do that. And I said, well, the main thing is it's gonna cost more to do that, because filmmakers, they want to feel special, and it's important they feel special. So when you come to JDIFF, I want to make sure that if there's any place I can help you, because it's expensive. You're going to all these film festivals, plus you put all this money in your film. So how do we ease up? So the community is really wonderful and helped with things. The sponsorship and the support is really wonderful, that we are able to bring these people from all over. And the thing is, when you have a great festival and people start talking about you, you get amazing quality films. And then when you bring all that together, then you have an audience. People go, oh, I heard about that festival. I want to go there to see amazing projects. And then they get to work with, talk to filmmakers. So it's really this, it's a creative and a business piece that you have to do for it, because you have to have both things to make it work, so that the audience that's coming and the filmmakers all feel appreciative, seeing great projects and working together. And then do people end up networking and mingling and leaving and doing projects? So it's that. Probably the multitasking ability is definitely testing. There's a lot of that. And so, but because I've done a lot of that, I think it made it easy for me to do it. I'm like, okay, I know filmmakers and I know how to make events. So, it's the mothership, and then all these little things underneath it that all come together.
Yeah. And I would argue that being a mother helps that skill. Like, I think a lot of people don't appreciate
patience,
some of those skills that you have as a mom, like that you have to multitask, juggle. And I'm not diminishing fathers at all. But it's just that there's just a lot to juggle, like, and that you become really good at multitasking and keeping 20,000 balls in the air. But I can't, like, your kids were little when you first started this. Yes.
No, my kids were all growing.
Oh, thank God.
I lucked out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was lucky. And for us, I mean, my husband and I have a very strange relationship. We only see each other maybe a couple months in a year, which is why we're still married for 39 years. And it just works. We have a lot of trust. We talk all the time. In fact, he talks too much. I'm like, okay, you've called me 4 times today. I'm still here, but you do that. But I think because I had that and his support, and the kids were very supportive, and then I was more free because I didn't have little kids. I'm able to really to stay there, and then we end up buying a house and moving there. But it was able to really do. But you're right, motherhood is multitasking to the max.
Yeah.
And because he wasn't home, I was doing a lot of it myself, so I was just used to doing more.
Yeah. And not that I want to make this a motherhood conversation, but there was something you said earlier about like having to put your dreams aside, like when you first had kids. Yeah. I would like any young mother who's listening to this to realize that there is your children will grow up, and there's an entire second life you're going to live when they have grown, and you can do a million things. And so if you're worried that you're putting things on pause, don't worry, because you're still gaining life experience and stuff to write about and all that stuff. So we got your back, ladies.
That's a great comment because a lot of people think I have to do it now. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you have to decide for me. I mean, I'm not saying everybody else has to, but for me, the film industry is a tough industry. And I knew it was going to
Mm-hmm.
take my husband away for a lot of time, and he really wanted to do that. And so I'm like, okay, I'll raise the kids and you go do that. I mean, like I said, did Disney character and stuff for a while. And then when he was gone all the time and making the money that I could afford not to work, then or the fact that daycare was more expensive than staying, not having
Yeah.
a paycheck, I stayed home and
Mm-hmm.
I raised them so that he could do it. So they had support from me. And then
Mm-hmm.
when they were all gone and grown up, then okay, then you have this whole second half of your life that for me, my brain was more grown up and ready to handle business and it could do it then. I mean, I did stuff, but you mature as well and you're just able to
Yeah.
handle things more. And that's how it worked for me.
I'm curious for you, Susan, as you know, for filmmakers and going from the creative to the business side and looking to submit to film festivals, like do you, as an executive director, can you offer any like do's or don'ts of how to present yourself as a filmmaker? Because I know a lot of people are like, you got to reach out to the executive director or whoever's programming the short block or feature block and send them an email and do all this work. And it's like, does that matter? And like, what is the best way to like present yourself and put your best foot forward as a filmmaker and for your art that you're trying to present?
That is a really good question. And I think all festivals do it differently. So I can only give you the perspective of what we do. I think one, for us, I do have a lot that reach out to me. Or even like alumni. Oh, we were there before. I was referred by so and so. And that's wonderful. I love hearing that. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. But in the end, it's still about the project. So it's still a fair process. So no matter what, and you have to be fair on it. So I appreciate you answering me, but if there's a film that's really scores better than yours, then no matter, and they didn't connect to me, it doesn't matter. I got to go with what was the fair process. If you, some people, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people do the cover letters, which I do read them all. When I do look at all the submissions that come through, we had almost 1,400 this year, and I review them all first and look at them and read the cover letters
Wow.
and send notes back. And then I send it to my team. I have a team about 60, just 100 people. And they have different teams. I have 10, 20 or so people on them. And at each team, each film has to have at least 10 people watching the film and those scores. So my score first, then it goes to them and they score. And then I go back through and I look at everything. The covers letters are really nice because then I go, okay, oh, that was so and so. But again, even if you're alumni, and if unfortunately, if you just didn't score high enough, I'm not going to put you in over somebody who's, because they're all paying a submission fee. So for us, it has to be a fair balance for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I think it's great when you communicate. It is nice, but again, for us, it doesn't help you either way. It for me, because again, it's about the process and keeping it fair, no matter who you are, no matter how many times you've tried submitting, or like if you've been in before, you're not necessarily going to get in again. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But what it does
Yeah.
do, it makes me feel
Yeah.
bad when
Yeah.
I got to
I,
write
I,
to
I
them,
love
oh, you
that's a fair
didn't.
process.
Yeah. And then I feel guilty when I can't tell you,
That is the hardest part.
oh,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know we're friends, but I can't take your film. And that's really, really hard. Really, I get a lot of anxiety when it comes to telling people they're not in.
But it's better than you got to
It's
always,
hard. Yeah.
it is hard, but you got to think about it's about the just like when you're creating a film
Mhm.
and say you have a writing partner or whatever, like you have to put the project first and you have to put your audience's experience first. What's going to make people want to come back and sit in the seat again next year?
Yeah.
And it's
And
not you, so you're done.
yeah. And it's not too, and I think it's important for filmmakers to realize it's not you, it's not because we didn't like your film or you did bad at
Hmm.
your film. Sometimes you could have, your film scored high and it's in that top, 10 or whatever. Well, you can't have 5 films all about dogs or 5 films about cats, So now you're taking, okay, I've got these subjects, now I got to narrow those down. So, it's a huge process to have a creative program and be fair to the process. So it takes a lot of time. So it's some most filmmakers handle it pretty well. I get some nasty emails back and I just write back, I'm so sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you hate my guts and throw tomatoes at me, but it's don't take it personal. I loved your film. It's a scoring process and I had 5 films all about your elephant and I can't do it like that. So
Yeah. I mean, does that happen a lot that you'll get like not films about elephants or cats and dogs, but let's try to embrace the films about animals since we killed a few in the beginning of this episode.
oh, that's good.
Oh my God.
That's good. I love it. Yes.
Right? Trying to just redeem ourselves here. But does it happen like that you get like a few submissions of some weird random topic, like that they all are kind of going on that theme? Like, does that happen often or is it kind of a rare thing?
You know what, like I would say experimental films take a specific audience. So if
Mm.
somebody is really gone experimental, and I tell people when they submit to me, or they'll ask me, I have an experimental film. I'm like, we accept them, but I just want you to know, very few experimental films get in with us. It's not a type of film that my screener reviewers really understand.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty good about if somebody said, well, can you tell me what you thought of it? Or, why didn't it get in? I'll say, okay, here's what my screeners say. Here's what I think. Loved it, but the plot's too confusing. It's kind of I try to, because again, it's not necessary opinion of everybody, but if you want my opinion, here's why it didn't make it, and I'll be honest with you. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get in somewhere else. It just depends where you're submitting to, and if they take a lot of experimental or so those have a hard time
Mm-hmm.
here. We're pretty open with a lot of stuff, but yeah, it just depends.
Is there a kind of lane that your festival likes to be in? Like, is there like, a certain genre that you lean more towards or inspirational or, is there any kind of lane or are you just kind of like whatever moves you? Like there's no predetermined theme you're trying to hit. You're just trying to find great films.
We do all genres, so
Hmm.
and I like to mix it up. So we will have, I mean, drama always tends to be the heaviest, but we do comedy, sci-fi. We have some westerns sometimes, horror. We do that, thriller, suspense. So there is no real you have to be this, but we kind of do it all. I tend to love sci-fi. I wish we get more sci-fi because I love it. And I love comedy. Comedy is another great one. But festivals tend to do mostly drama. And I think it's because they think drama wins awards all the time, which it does.
Hmm.
But for us, no, if you're really good comedic, I mean, we've had a couple of comedy ones that have gotten either an honorary mention or best short or best features. So there is no specific. We try to hit them all. It's just experimental doesn't do as well. And this year, for 2027, I'm opening up to do music videos because that seems to be another really big section we have, a category we haven't done yet, but people are asking about it. Sorry, dog in the back.
Oh, I've got a dog. I'm actually shocked that she's quiet right now.
Okay.
So when people are at the festivals, okay, so say now your film is in.
Yep.
Advice to filmmakers of how to best take advantage of this opportunity that you are now in a festival because it's also extremely expensive for filmmakers to go to all the different festivals.
Yeah.
So like, why should they come to yours? Like if and what advice do you have for them when they're there?
Well, they get to meet me. That's
Perfect.
that's
That's
number
a
one.
plus.
Just
That is a
kidding.
bonus. It's you and the Mississippi River.
That's it. Yeah, in that order.
Right.
For us, the advice to the filmmakers. So I do a lot of communication. I send very detailed things out. You won't believe the amount of people that don't read it. It's
Oh,
hysterical.
I would.
And ask me the
I
same
believe it.
question. And I don't mind. I'm going to answer you. But remember, as an ED, you're really busy. And I am very much one-on-one. And I like that. But I'm also extremely, means I might get a little delayed. So try to read all that info because I send it 2 or 3 times. So that's super important. I would suggest too that once you get accepted to a festival, please make sure you're prepared and ready to be accepted to a festival, because there's nothing worse to an ED when all of a sudden you pull out after a couple weeks, even 3 weeks, and we're already working on the schedule and we're working on the program guide and we're working on the website. And then you pull out due to, well, I want to premiere somewhere else, or I want to do this. And the problem you create is you just took that spot from somebody else that could have went in.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that's not fair, because I can only take so many and you just took a spot and now you pull out, well, I could have put that person in, but it's too late because you're already down the path of everything else. So I think that's super important. Don't once you're in, make that commitment, because it does kind of cause problems on the other side. And then why come to us? For us, we are, again, I can be communicative and give you all the information you need. And I make sure that when you're there, you know exactly where you have to go, where you get your passes, where you get this, what are you doing? And then you just get to meet a lot of other people. So I would like, I know there's like all these sites where people see about, ask, where should I go? Where should I be? And listen to other filmmakers, because they're going to tell you, where did they get to mingle with the filmmakers most? I've been told a lot of festivals, filmmakers don't necessarily go down and mingle and meet. We make a lot of events so that you're not staying in your room and just going to your screening. I want you to come down to Filmmaker Lounge and sit around, plus we feed you, around food and talk and meet other people. Because a lot of people have collaborated after our festival, after meeting here. Those are really important. So we try to create this amazing atmosphere that you can meet other people. Now, I can't guarantee, because we do 2 screens, you're going to have full houses. I can't even guarantee one of them might be full, one not, or maybe both might only have a couple, but you'll have a very engaging audience whoever is there. But there are other reasons you come to a festival. You want to be able to collaborate, you want to be able to meet, you want to feel special. And I think we do a really good job at that.
And there's nothing more exciting than seeing your film on a screen with a live audience reaction.
Yeah, it's true. Even if, like I said, even if it's just a couple people, you're still making that person's day by being there, and they get to talk to you about it and talk to you, and learn about your film. But I think we do a really good job. All filmmakers are very special to me. I know the amount of time and effort it takes to make a film. And I want to try to give you as much as I can to help you without going broke. But just give you that atmosphere of, you are really special. I don't care if your budget was only $1 or $1 million. And if you made it in, you're just as special as everybody else. And I think that's super important. And again, I think our town, our community, and I think the festival itself, we do a good job at that.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean it. I get it. Like now I'm burnt out. I'm like, oh, I just want to get it over with. And then when the festival comes, you're like, oh, this is so exciting. You're meeting everybody. And then when it's over, you're like, oh, it's just sad. Everybody's gone.
Right.
So
right. We get to do it again.
Yeah. Start all over.
I can't even imagine.
Having done this for so long now, I would assume you're one, inspired by films and all these productions are happening and meeting all these filmmakers. Like, how much of that rubs off on you where you're like, I got to go make something now? And also, like, have you ever found yourself collaborating with any of those filmmakers that have come through that you're like, that is someone I have to work with. I got to find a way.
Yeah, I have actually. I had a filmmaker come up to me and had an idea. He'd been there before another film, and he came, I think it was last year or the year before, and said he had this great idea for this TV, like a pilot, a series. And he talked about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really love that. It's a great idea. And I said, let me help see if I can find some funding, and we'll film it in Dubuque. And I did. I was able to bring that together, and we filmed it. And we're actually going to kind of do a revamp of it, but it's in process. But that came because the festival, that same filmmaker also, he was in this second festival with another film that he had met somebody else at the first time he was there, and from New York area, and they collaborated, and that guy helped him find funding in New York and film his film that was now in this second time. So that has happened. I've actually ended up working with several people I've met at the festival. I've even ended up Like a woman, Nancy DeGrant, a filmmaker, has been to the festival a couple times. This year, I'm bringing her in because she's helping put filmmakers to help do the Q&As for some of the short blocks. And it was an
Mm,
idea she had. She presented to me, and I'm like, oh, I love that. I'm
Oh,
like, do you
cool.
want to do that and put it together? And she's like, I would love to. So, I'm open to ideas and stuff too. So there's just been a lot of things that collaborate from what we're doing, and I like that too because you just meet. I love meeting people, and especially
yeah.
new people. Love meeting people from all over the world. I really, really do. That's probably my most favorite part of the festival.
So many people don't think about the networking opportunities. And, when you're at a conference or a festival, the person to your left and the person to your right, I mean, those are all the people you're coming up with. And you never know where everybody sitting in the audience is going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and people sometimes get so focused on meeting the executives or the stars or not thinking about the creatives sitting in the audience with them.
Yeah. That's right. And I think
Hmm.
this is what makes indie film festivals so important. And you got thousands to choose from. And we know the
Hmm.
big ones, Sundance, South by, all of them. But I feel like you get lost there if
Yes.
unless you're a big studio, and now they don't even do really the indie film. What they consider indie is these big, big names. But
Yeah,
I find that
right.
unfair, and I find the process, I don't know, and probably somebody's going to hate me for it, but I don't think it's as a fair of a process because they're getting like 10, 14,000 submissions. There's no
Hmm.
way you're watching all that.
Hmm.
I'm going to get to a point where
Yeah.
I'll say, look, we're only accepting 2,000 submissions. That's it. You get in,
Hmm.
otherwise you don't get in, because I don't want it to be where I don't know what's submitted and I can't watch and that my team can't keep up with. I don't want that
Yeah.
because that's not fair. And there's just so many talented filmmakers around the world that I just want it for us. I want us to be about them. Yes, we need money because you got to survive, but it's not about big, big money. It's about making a platform that these people can come to. And as long as we can keep going, that's what's important to me.
And discovering talent,
Yes. Yeah. And
you know.
discovering talent. I tell people all the time, and you asked me about what to advise for filmmakers. I, you know, Even if you spend $10 on a film, please, please make sure that every actor is good. If they don't have to be A-list, there are some amazing actors out there that are just up and coming, and just give them a try. Maybe they'll do it for a free meal or something, or a lot of them want to get on the experience. Take the time. Don't give it to your best friend if they can't act. Take the time because, oh, see, hear the alarm. Now we're going to have a tornado in Iowa. So this is great. That's the alarm that's going off.
Oh my gosh.
Can you hear that? I'm so
This is
No.
a first.
Oh, we can't hear it? Okay, good. I won't feel
Uh-uh.
bad then. It's like doo-doo, and it's telling me we're in a storm.
Okay, well, Dorothy, if you need to get in the basement,
No, we're good. Oh my
don't
gosh.
forget your dog. We
Yeah,
can't kill
my
another
little dog
animal.
too. But I think that it's just all those things. See, now it threw me off. Well, look at that.
Oh,
Darn
it
alarm.
it happens to us all the time. You were talking about not letting your best friend be an actor
Yeah, please take time with the acting, because you could watch a film and one bad actor can totally take you out of the film. I mean, just throw
Hmm.
you off.
And sound.
Sound has to be
And
good.
sound.
I mean, at least work on your sound, your lighting. It's just amazing. There are certain things you just really have to take some time to do when you're doing a film. Think about those things.
Is there a sweet spot for short films? Because there's people who are like, I'm making a 20-minute short film. It's so good. And you're like, I don't think it's going to play, unfortunately, as good as it is. Like, do you guys find that there is that sweet spot so that you can give, again, a fair chance to everyone to have that moment to play in a block?
We are probably one of the very few film festivals that take shorts up to 49 minutes. So we have like short one is 2 minutes to 20 and
Oh,
short
wow.
two is 20 to 49.
Mm.
We're one of the very few. But I will say that I can sometimes watch one of those longer shorts and I'll be like, oh, they could have taken out about 10 minutes of this. It would have been faster. So I
Hmm.
think the key you have to remember is when you're editing, you know the material that's there. You know what is there. However,
Hmm.
the audience doesn't, because they haven't seen it yet. So if it's
Right.
dragging or you're repeating the same stuff, or you go, okay, this scene can work without that, remove it. Nobody's going to know it's gone except for you, because nobody else has seen
Hmm.
it. So you have to be very conscious of that because especially documentaries, sometimes it's the same talking heads saying the same thing. You don't need that. You only need it
Hmm.
a couple times and then change the situation. But they get too long. So that's what I would say. Just be cautious of, okay, you know it, but your outside audience doesn't. So learn to cut. Sometimes less is better.
I agree.
Yeah,
Especially dialogue. You don't need as much
absolutely.
dialogue as you think you need.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. And music, there's a lot of free music out there. Music really helps carry a film. So if your film is going and it just seems, you might think it seems a little slow, see what happens when you add a little music to it, because sometimes that'll help carry that situation.
When your husband's home on those rare times, do you guys watch movies together?
Oh no, he'll fall asleep. He doesn't, unless it's a movie he did. He'll like, oh, we got to watch it, and then he falls asleep. I'm like, okay, that's during this time. I don't watch any other movies because I'm like
Yeah.
overloaded with movies. But after the festival, sometimes I'll like, oh, let's go see something, or I like going to the theater. I like the
Hmm.
experience of the theater. So I like to do that, but he doesn't. I don't take him because he snores in a theater. He's done that before. It's really embarrassing. I don't take him, but he doesn't. He is he can't watch movies. I don't know how he does it. He cannot stay focused. He'll be doing something, and he'll ask me 10,000 questions. So, oh, what happened? Why does that happen? Why is that person? What's he doing? And I'm one like, if I'm going to watch it, I'm focused. Like, don't ask me
Hmm.
Right.
10,000 questions. So that's the difference.
Well, it's a good thing he doesn't pick the films for the festival.
Yes, yes, exactly. It has nothing to do with it.
I asked that question because I know like my husband will say to me, "You've ruined movies for me," because like when we watch something, he'll be like, that dialogue was so on the nose. Like he can't
His
like
low critique.
yeah, now that he knows, now that he understands like what writers go through or whatever, and sometimes he'll be like, yeah, that's not believable, that would never happen. Like it just it's an adjustment period. So I was wondering whether he could watch a film and be like, oh my God, those special effects are terrible. Like, or like, like
Yeah.
if it's possible for him to just enjoy a movie.
No, he does do that. He will look at something and say, "Oh, oh, why would they do that? I just saw the rigging," or he'll, point. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just watch it." Please just watch it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't watch it a whole lot.
So, what is your dream for the festival? Like, where do you want it to go? Like, say we're fast forward 10 years and you're still working because I know you will still be working. Um, I think we can pretty much guarantee that. If there was a lottery ticket to buy, guaranteeing that I would. Um, but
Hmm.
what do you hope, where do you want it to be? Like, what are your hopes for it?
I hope thousands of more people come to attend because I would love to grow I mean, we have good audience. We get thousands now, but I would love to hit 20,000, 25,000 people coming into Dubuque. One, great economic impact for the community. I think that's
Hmm.
important. And two, it just gives more audience, more butts and seats for the filmmakers.
Hmm.
'Cause like you said, I want them to have a great audience to react to their film. I don't know if I'll go any longer. I think a week, if anything, maybe you do 10 days. I'm at 8, maybe a couple just allow that fly in time, fly out.
Mm.
But it's more the audience, more filmmakers attending. I would love to increase where we are doing more panels and workshops and stuff so that filmmakers will want to come in for educational as well to kind of
Mm,
be there, maybe learn some stuff, talk. But like I said, the networking is the biggest piece that we do. So I'd want to keep all that. That's kind of where I see it. I think it'll grow. I mean, the town is, like I said, I hope we can do that without relying on being too studio focused. Does that make sense? I
yeah.
want to keep the focus on the indie filmmaker and remain true to that. And there are other like names, not A-listers. I'm talking about the names that go on stuff that are, maybe on TV series and stuff. That a lot of them come. And I love that because, they just get to come and enjoy and just see their film and be part of the process and be there. And there's nothing too much expected from them. And I love that too. And I want to continue to grow that piece.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of those smaller venues, not like the huge. I think I've been to Sundance. It's a lot. It's also really long. Like we have a little film festival in our town. It started off as 4 days, which was great because I used to get a ticket and I'd sit there for 4 days and eat nothing but popcorn. But then now it's like bumped up to like 10 days and it just feels too long. Like you can't, it's very just, especially if you're local going to the event, it's very disruptive to your life. Like you're trying to, you want to see all these films, like it's almost like too much. Like I could block out a few days of my life to go to a film festival, but to block out 10 days of it, it's a lot. And I feel like, but I get wanting to have more films and more people and more, 2 weekends, because a lot of times people can't go during the week. They can just be there on the weekends. So it's a tough position you're in, trying to find that perfect balance,
Yeah, I like where we are now, the Saturday to Saturday. I love that we're not actually all day Saturday, just Saturday night and opening film. That's it. And then films actually start Sunday. And then they end on the following Saturday with our big awards night. I like that.
Yeah, that feels good.
It just feels good. I mean, to me, so part of me, I've had people say, will you ever go to 10 days? I'm like, thought about it. Do I really want to? I kind of like
too much.
It gets a lot. And I don't want to keep adding more films. I'm actually trying to not have so many films because then it's too many choices for people to go to. So, but that always ends up being really hard to do. But, I try to right now I think we have too many. I love them all, but it's a lot.
One thing, I don't know if you have anything like this at your festival, but at ours, we have this wonderful Scott Cohen, who's an actor. You've probably seen him in like Curb Your Enthusiasm and all these different things. He organizes a 5-page cold read. He gets all these actors. Some of them are just local to our little playhouse. Some of them come up from New York City. They had Peter Riegert was there. They had an actress from Sopranos. Like they've had this wide range of talent, really great talent. And they've got this panel of actors, and then people come in, little local screenwriters in my little country town, or somebody, or maybe like a filmmaker from the festival has like 5 pages that they want to just get a cold read of, and they hand out the parts, they cast amongst the actors, and then they read it on the spot, and then they give you feedback. If you could cram something like that in your festival, oh my God, it is so. I love it. It's the one thing that I make sure I go. Write that down. I'll just love that.
And day 9.
Day 9.
And we just added.
Right.
Damn, Jeannie.
No, that's great. Love that idea. Yeah, maybe for next year.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really fun. Stop. Tell people when it is.
Oh,
when is your festival?
Is April 18th to the 25th. So just around the corner.
Okay.
It opens up with an opening night and then ends with our awards night, which is a really big celebration.
Is it always in April, like mid-April?
It's always the last full weekend of April.
Perfect.
It kind of gets that. It's right along that time, Saturday. It just depends kind of where Easter lands. So sometimes Easter goes way into April. And so we have to bump it back a little bit, but right around that time.
And I bet it's a challenge getting your taxes done.
I'm sorry, taxes are due?
Yes, this is me right now. Like, oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yes, a little bit, right?
But you know what? This is the advantage when you're a creative. If you don't make any money, you don't have to do taxes.
Yeah. This is true.
I am very excited for you. And one of these days, Sadie and I should come to your festival with our Reckless Creatives microphone and interview some of your people and your filmmakers, because we would love to help elevate some indie filmmakers' voices. 1,000%.
Yes.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
What a great idea. They would love that. I would love that. That's great.
And we won't kill
We'll make it happen.
Animals.
No animal kill. That's not happening. Unless it's a snake. It's like a poisonous snake, and it has to go down. But other than that.
So that means we have to bring our brooms.
Bring your own broom.
Reckless Creatives is a Pipeline Artist original podcast. Like, subscribe, and follow us on social media at Pipeline Artists. And find more info at pipelineartists.com/listen. Until next time, stay reckless.